This Helikite experiment is really incredible, and I think it would do us all well as fans, and maybe you guys too, to really go through the science of what this might be telling you about this bubble-like anomaly.
You know, we're talking about a structure that, as measured from the triangle, has a radius of 2,000 feet. We're doing our work out there on the periphery with the Helikite. We're trying to get measurements that give us more insight into the real physical reality of this thing. Our instruments are attached to a platform, which is itself attached to that Helikite, and we're collecting the data.
So the experiment is set up where we're using one of the UTVs to hold a tether to the Helikite. Then we're driving it to where the bubble wall is. Thomas is right there under the Helikite, making sure everything's working right.
One of the strengths of the Helikite is our ability to dwell for a long time, especially in a region of interest like the boundary of the bubble. You know, whereas with a rocket, you know, we only have really a few seconds.
And even with a drone, you only have a few minutes.
Right.
Yes, whereas with a platform like the Helikite, we're just collecting the data the whole time we dwell in that boundary.
So to that end, let's talk about the data you found in the field live time during this experiment, what it told you about the edges of the bubble.
Well, right off the bat, one of the unexpected results was as we were setting up the experiment, and I start to see the GPS data diving underground.
I am about to turn on the GPS transmitter.
Copy you, Travis.
Oh, look at that.
That's crazy.
This GPS tracker took a deep dive underground. Interesting. So at the table there at ground level, I began to get readings that indicated that we went as deep as, I want to say, 866 feet below ground. And so when I saw this, I knew that we were probably in for some very unusual results.
Already going to be a long night. So what could explain this? What's going on here?
Well, you know, the first thing we think about are clocks, because GPS is accurate based on how accurate its clock is. And so if something spoofed the clock and made it think the clock had run a lot more ticks off of it, then it would think the signal was further away, meaning it would have been underground instead of where it was. And so is there something about this bubble that spoofs clocks?
Wow.
You know, the timing is very suspicious.
Well, that's well played.
Literally and figuratively. Yeah.
Yeah, can't help but wonder whether we've got some new element in play, some new signal interfering with our ability to take these measurements.
Also, you broadcast a 1.2 gigahertz signal off the Helikite itself. And again, you get these signals.
Wow, look at that. This is just insane. Something's happening. One of my receivers started picking up a different 1.2 gigahertz signal from the one that we're broadcasting. This is the signal we're transmitting, and suddenly this line to the right of it appeared right as the Helikite passed right into the barrier wall. Before this year, we had never seen 1.2 gigahertz signals here on the ranch, and that's why we chose that band, so that we weren't worried about stepping on something that the ranch had done in the past. But ever since we started that, from day one, we seem to be getting a 1.2 gigahertz signal now from the ranch somewhere. And as soon as the Helikite hits the bubble region, I then see Eric's 1.2 gigahertz signal and then another 1.2 gigahertz signal on top of it.
Again, this mimicry aspect. Is the bubble communicating with you, or something in the middle of the triangle communicating with you, reacting to your signal?
Right? Did whatever is there expand it, change it, respond to it? I don't know.
Yeah, the key point is that according to our understanding, what Travis just described should not have happened.
As if that weren't stunning enough, then you try to launch rockets through the barrier of the bubble to see what would happen, and man, incredible.
I wanted to hit this bubble wall boundary with the rocket. So we launched the first rocket, and it gets to right where the barrier wall is, and it turns due north like it's going in a bubble trajectory around the surface of the bubble. And so that led us to launch another rocket. Oh, look out, we went the wrong way. What the crap?
Unbelievable.
This time, it turns and goes to the south of the bubble, around the periphery of the bubble, and lands somewhere down near the south field by the creek.
Do you take that as possible validation that there is something there?
It's support, but not proof.
Got it.